Okay, so if you've ever tried to get a website ranking on Google, you know the feeling, right? That slow, really manual grind. Creating content, optimizing it, waiting, hoping. It takes ages, even for just a few pages.
Yeah.
But what happens when your business needs like thousands or maybe tens of thousands of really specific pages? Think about a job board, for example. You can't just have one jobs page. You need marketing jobs in Austin, right? And software engineer jobs in Dallas, designer jobs in Seattle. I mean, the list just goes on and on, trying to write every single one of those manually. It's impossible. It's a massive bottleneck. And this is exactly where programmatic SEO or PSEO comes in. It kind of changes the whole equation.
Yeah.
Look at it like an automated content factory that just runs 24/7. Instead of needing this huge team of writers, PSEO lets companies target maybe hundreds of thousands of keywords. And not in months, but potentially in hours, generating all that targeted content automatically.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to do today. We'll take a deep dive into the source material we've got here, pull out the really key insights on programmatic SEO. We want to unpack, what it is, why it's suddenly so important, who really benefits, and maybe the most interesting part, where it's headed. What's the future look like? It's not just about churning out pages. It's about smart, structured growth.
Okay, sounds good. So let's start right at the beginning. What is programmatic SEO fundamentally? You called it a content factory.
Yeah.
How does that machine actually work?
Right. So at its core, programmatic SEO is basically the automated creation of web pages, hundreds, thousands, even more. Instead of a person writing each one, you're using templates and data. It's like putting SEO on autopilot in a way. The setup usually involves a few key pieces. First, you need a solid content database. Think of a really well-organized spreadsheet or maybe a SQL database full of, product names, locations, categories, whatever your things are.
All the raw ingredients, basically.
Precisely. Then you design a master landing page template. And this isn't just like a pretty design. It has dynamic fields built in, ready to pull that data. And crucially, the basic on-page SEO stuff, meta titles, headings, structure that's all baked right into the template itself. Then finally, you use scripts or some automation tools. These connect the database to the template and just generate all those unique pages automatically.
That's where the real scale happens. Yeah, there was a great example in the sources, the travel site one. Really makes it clear. Instead of someone painstakingly writing pages for best hotels in London, best hotels in Paris, best hotels in Rome, and so on, they make one template. And that template pulls from their database of cities and hotels. And boom, the system just generates hundreds, thousands maybe, of these super targeted best hotels and city pages, all structured perfectly for Google. It turns this monumental task into something, automated.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just a theory. I mean, look at companies like Zapier. They built this huge PSEO presence around all their app integrations. Or Nomad List, fantastic resource for digital nomads. They use PSEO to totally dominate search results in their niche. It absolutely works. They're real-world proof.
Okay, that makes sense. But it also brings up a really important question. We kind of get traditional SEO, right? The careful manual content creation. How does PSEO compare? Why choose one over the other? When does PSEO become the obvious path?
Well, the big why is scale. It really boils down to scale. Traditional SEO. Great for those competitive, broad keywords where you need that really unique, high-quality piece. But programmatic SEO tackles a different beast altogether. It's for targeting thousands, maybe tens of thousands of similar but distinct long-tail keywords. If we compare them side by side, the differences really highlight the strategy. So, page creation. Traditional is manual, one by one. PSEO is automated templates and data that directly impact scale. Traditional, you're maybe looking at tens, hundreds of pages. PSEO, you could be talking thousands, even over 100,000. It's a completely different order of magnitude.
Wow. And I imagine that must completely change the time investment needed.
Yeah.
And the setup complexity too, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're building a system first.
Exactly right. With traditional SEO, the time investment is high for each page. With PSEO, it's high for the initial setup, building the system, the templates, cleaning the data that takes effort. But then the time per page is incredibly low afterwards. So yeah, setup complexity. Traditional, simpler to start. PSEO is definitely more complex upfront. You're essentially engineering a content pipeline. And this changes content quality control too. Traditional SEO gives you fine-grained control over every single page. With PSEO, the quality really hinges on how good your template is and, crucially, the quality of your data. Garbage in, garbage out, basically. Then there's this shift in resource requirements. Traditional SEO needs writers, editors, SEO specialists. Programmatic SEO, you need developers, data analysts, SEO strategists, or architects. It's a different skill set.
Right. It almost sounds more like a product development effort than just marketing content.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. It often involves product and engineering teams much more heavily.
So if the skills are so different, who is each approach really best for them?
Traditional SEO, like we said, is best for those really competitive head terms where you need that bespoke, authoritative content. PSEO really shines for long-tail keywords. And for any business that's fundamentally built on a database, think listings, comparisons, directories, this also touches on risk. Generally, traditional SEO has lower risk because you control each page's quality directly. PSEO, it can carry higher risk. Mainly the risk of thin content penalties if you don't do it right.
Right, if the pages end up too similar.
Exactly, and the keywords targeted reflect that too. Broad, competitive terms for traditional, very specific long-tail variations for PSEO.
Okay, last comparison point. What about the cost? Is PSEO always cheaper in the long run?
Not necessarily cheaper overall, but the cost structure is different. Traditional SEO has high ongoing content, cost paying writers, editors. PSEO usually has a higher upfront cost for development and setup, but then much lower ongoing costs because of the automation. Maintenance also shifts you update the data or the template, not individual pages usually. So the main takeaway is traditional SEO gives you that fine-tuned control for unique competitive stuff. Programmatic SEO is just unbeatable for targeting thousands of similar search terms efficiently. They're often complementary, not replacements.
That makes a lot of sense. So if you're listening to this, maybe you're running a business, how do you figure out if programmatic SEO is actually right for you? Who really gets the most out of this strategy?
Yeah, the sources we looked at were pretty clear here. PSEO is really ideal for businesses that need to capture a huge amount of long-tail search traffic. Also for those who need to publish content incredibly quickly at a scale that's just impossible manually. And obviously reducing that manual content creation time. It's especially powerful for structured, query-based content. You know, anything you can easily put in a database, like best laptops under $1,000, or restaurants near location that serve food type, that kind of thing.
And certain industries just seem like a natural fit, don't they? I'm thinking real estate listings.
Absolutely.
E-commerce sites with loads of product variations, colors, sizes, those job boards we keep mentioning.
Yep.
SaaS comparison tools, directory sites, aggregators, online marketplaces, travel sites, even big affiliate sites. If you've got that structured data, PSEO seems like a really strong contender.
Totally agree. And if you are thinking about implementing it, there's kind of a blueprint. About 5 core components you really need. First, obviously, a structured data source. Could be Airtable, Google Sheets, a proper SQL database, maybe even carefully scraped web data. That's your foundation. Second, those page templates. Dynamic designs that pull in the specific info for each page. Meta tags, headings, the actual content. Third, you need smart internal linking logic. You can't just have thousands of orphan pages. You need dynamic links based on categories, tags, location, whatever makes sense. That's vital for SEO. Fourth, a really clear indexing strategy. With potentially thousands of pages, you have to decide which ones Google should actually index. And using canonical tags correctly is crucial here to avoid duplicate content problems.
Right, telling Google which page is the main one, if they're similar. And finally, number 5 must be the automation tools, right? The things that actually connect the dots.
Exactly. And there's a range here. For like no-code or low-code setups, you see tools like Webflow being used as the CMS, Airtable often for the data, Make.com or Zapier for the automation workflows, stitching it all together, or even specialized tools like Sheet2Site or Softi for getting things up quickly. For teams with more technical resources, you're often looking at Python for scripting and handling the data. Maybe tools like Puppeteer or Playwright for web scraping if needed. Those let you automate browser actions to grab data. And then Node.js with a headless CMS is pretty common for building flexible, large-scale PSEO systems.
Okay, it definitely sounds powerful, but there's always a but, isn't there? What are the big risks, the challenges people need to watch out for when they dive into programmatic SEO?
Yeah.
What's the dark side?
Oh, yeah. There are definitely pitfalls. The number one risk is probably generating thin or duplicate content. If your templates aren't sophisticated enough, if they don't inject enough unique value onto each page, or if your underlying data is just too repetitive, Google can penalize you. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Another major issue can be crawl budget waste. If you just flood Google with thousands of low-value or very similar pages, their bots might waste time crawling those instead of your actually important pages.
Ah, right. So it's not just about getting pages indexed. It's making sure the right pages get crawled and indexed efficiently.
Precisely. Then there's the nightmare scenario of template errors. You make one mistake in your master template.
And it replicates across thousands of pages instantly.
Ouch. Yeah, exactly. Leading to potentially massive SEO problems overnight. And finally, you can't forget quality signals. Even if you generate thousands of technically okay pages, if users don't engage with them, if the UX is bad, if the content isn't actually helpful for the search query, your rankings will suffer. Google's getting much better at figuring that out.
Okay, so knowing those risks, thin content, crawl budget, errors, poor quality signals, how do you fight back? How do you make sure your automation isn't just, creating digital landfill?
It really comes back to prioritizing quality and usefulness within that automated framework. It's not easy, but it's essential. You can enhance pages by, say, integrating user-generated content like reviews or comments. That adds unique text. Building robust FAQ sections, maybe even using AI to help generate relevant questions and answers. Using schema markup is huge too. That structured data helps Google understand what your content is about, beyond just keywords.
Like telling it this number is a rating, this text is a review.
Exactly. And critically, you have to actively monitor Google Search Console. Keep a close eye on coverage reports, index issues, any warnings. The core message really has to be quality and usefulness come first. Volume is great, but only if the pages actually help visitors. The goal isn't just more pages, it's more helpful pages.
That's a really crucial point. Okay, so looking ahead then, what's changing? What's new in programmatic SEO as we head towards, say, 2025 and beyond? How's it evolving with AI and Google's updates?
Yeah, it's moving fast. One big shift is towards more entity-focused SEO. So structured content using semantic markup is becoming more important. It helps AI systems understand the relationships between concepts on your pages, not just the keywords. And of course, Google's helpful content update, that's been a massive deal. It specifically targets sites with thin, unhelpful, often AI mass-produced content, so genuine quality signals are more critical than ever before. Volume alone won't save you.
Right. And what about all the buzz around large language models like GPT? Are they just making it easier to create more thin content for PSEO, or is there more to it?
That's a great question. While they could be misused, savvy teams are using LLMs to augment PSEO in smart ways. Things like helping generate unique FAQ content for templates, paraphrasing existing data points to create more varied descriptions, or crafting really targeted meta descriptions or snippets. It's about adding layers of unique value onto the template. We're also seeing visual SEO become more important, integrating things like schema-rich images, charts, tables directly into PSEO templates, helping Google understand visual information too.
Interesting. So it's about making the content richer and more understandable in multiple ways, not just text. Okay, let's gaze into the crystal ball then. Looking further out, 2025 and beyond, what trends are likely coming down the pipe for programmatic SEO?
Well, I think we can definitely expect Google to enforce even tighter quality controls. The bar for what constitutes helpful will likely keep rising. We'll probably see a big move towards content personalization at scale. Imagine combining user behavior data with programmatic templates to show slightly different versions of a page depending on the visitor. Hyperrelevance. Also, AI-driven snippet optimization will likely get much more sophisticated. Using AI to dynamically tweak meta titles, target featured snippets more effectively, maybe even enrich content with relevant entities on the fly.
Wow, okay. So the pages themselves become more intelligent and adaptive. That's fascinating.
Exactly. And I think we'll see more hybrid strategies. Blending the scale of programmatic generation with focused human editorial oversight or input on key page types or elements, kind of getting the best of both worlds, scale and quality control. Maybe a bit further out, but really exciting, the potential for programmatic video pages. Imagine automatically generating short video snippets or summaries with captions based on data. Think product comparisons, how-to guides. That could be huge.
Okay, incredible stuff. So just to kind of recap this whole deep dive then, programmatic SEO, it's clearly not some magic bullet or an excuse to just churn out rubbish. It's a really smart, strategic approach to scaling content, but only when you genuinely need to target thousands of distinct search terms. And the absolute key seems to be finding that balance between the power of automation and real human-centric quality.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if a page was written by a human or generated by a system. It still has to be genuinely helpful to the person who lands on it. It can't just be a placeholder stuffed with keywords. It needs to provide actual value, answer the user's question or need. That's the bottom line.
Well said. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening, as you mull over this powerful shift in content creation. How might the rise of these hybrid programmatic strategies blending automation with human expertise reshape the future role of content creators? Could it foster a new kind of collaboration we haven't really seen before?